It's time for a 2-minute timeout with Joe Shuda.
The radio voice of the Pitt Panthers in Steelersville, Hillgrove, discusses home team favoritism and his longtime radio partner, Myron Cope.
Well, I go back to Bob Prince, Jack Fleming, Joe Tucker, those who came before Rosie Rosewell. There's nothing wrong with favoring the home team when it comes to your emotion. But I think what you have to be careful of is to protect your credibility. If another team makes a good play, you have to tip your hat and recognize it. And Marino Parasenza once said to me, Marino was a Penn State graduate. He said, Billy, I listened to your Penn State game. He said, and I couldn't tell what your lean was. I said, well, Marino, a good play in football is a good play in football. And you have to get excited about that. So you just have to give credit where credit is due, and then you're covered on the homer thing. Myron Cope, I miss him every day. And we had 11 years together with the Steelers, and a lot of people forget about the year we had together when Johnny Sauer had some medical issues in 1983, and Myron had to sub and do both. And that was certainly a great opportunity for me to kind of get a preview of what it's like to work with a guy. But he was unique. He over-prepared. He'd come into the booth with an inch-thick pile of index cards with things on them and rarely go through half of them. And I once said to him, Myron, you rarely go through half of them. He says, Billy, what if we get a clunker? And I got the fourth quarter to try to keep listeners on board. And, he made a lot of sense with that. But he was most fun to work with. And, here's a man who really butchered the King's English purposely. But nobody knew more about the English language than Myron Cope, believe me. He always had the right word for the right situation.
I'm Joe Shuda with this 2-minute timeout.